with Gina.
The news
Gina.
with Gina Grad.
Thank you.
Hold on. Let me say this. Chicks, I'll take a page out of Mike August's playbook, his stoic playbook.
Okay.
Because if you think about what Mike August's odyssey was today. Now, he ended up going back, catching a flight, had a layover in Phoenix, and then he's flying to Miami. He hasn't gotten there yet. We were at the curb. Mike got up. Goddamn, where he's in Orange County now. Where the fuck is he out there? Yeah, nice. Yeah, see white people? Yeah. Those are our white people, Orange County. You guys have your own. This guy gets up in Orange County. He drives at like 4 a.m. He meets me at the shop. We pack up under the darkness. We pack up it's 5:45 in the morning. We sit in traffic all the way to LAX. We get there. It's been a 2.5-hour odyssey. He pops the trunk. He notices his backpack's gone. He looks inside the car. He pauses and he goes, all right, I'm going back. You guys go ahead. He slams the trunk and he gets in. Now, if that were any chick I know, there'd be like 28. Why? But why?
I would be sitting up here looking exactly like Tammy Faye Baker.
Yes, but why did
crying my fucking eyes out.
No. Mike's just like, here we go. Gets in the car and they take off.
Adam.
Yes.
See, I heard he actually just looked at you and just goes, game over.
Game over. That's right.
He's Bill Paxton in Aliens.
Yeah, he's like one of those guys, like in the action movie where he's falling through the thing and you're hanging on to him, and the guy
Save
goes,
yourself.
Save yourself. He's like, no, Ted, you're coming. He pulls a knife out and slits.
It's too late for me.
That's what he did. He just went. He looked in the trunk, he looked in the car, he went, game over. And he got in the car, and he took off. But he didn't yell, why me? Or why does this always happen to me? Or even,
why can't I catch a break?
I like the, what's happening? Like that. No, he just took off.
He's Seagal in Executive Decisions.
That's right.
You go,
That's
complete
right.
the mission.
That's right. Executive
He's a hero.
Seagal in Executive Decisions. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, the latest drug trend might not be something you've ever tried. That's probably for the best. It's toad venom. It's from the Colorado River toads, and it comes on strongly and immediately.
Toad.
Yes. It lasts about 45 minutes, according to the New York Post. It leaves users immobile and unaware, extreme emotional reactions, extreme euphoria, extreme vomiting and diarrhea.
Is this Is this like licking toads?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is toad venom. It's back. One user described it as a total fusion with God.
Total.
But if caught with it, you can get up to 10 years in prison. It's a toxic liquid. It's extracted by milking the toad's poisonous venom glands, then drying it into a paste, and it'll cost you about $500 a pop.
Jesus Christ. I don't know all the people at what's the ayahuasca one?
Ayahuasca and ibogaine.
All this. What is this crazy? We have booze, people. We don't need to hang out with
booze.
We don't need to hang out with a shaman and yak. We don't need to go on a mysterious journey. We have fucking alcohol. We can sit at home, get drunk, and blame our parents. We don't have to go milk fucking toads.
That's a white people hobby.
Yes, and also, like, I don't like, you know when they try to explain to you, like, what are the different degrees of high? Like, well, it starts off good, and then you go to this weird dark place, and then you have sex with an animal, and then it gets better, and then you start to vomit, but everyone around you, you got to be in a good environment. That's the beauty of booze. Fuck the environment. I'm drunk inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
We're safe.
That's right.
New rich man, poor man. Exotic drugs from nature?
Yes.
Like middle class, just opioids and pot, whatever.
Or like indigenous rainforest person. I got high on mushrooms once a million years ago, and I'll tell you the only thing that mushrooms are really good for, and on the ship, I brought some, Granny, so we're going to roll. After the show. I'm a pro. I won't do it before the show. I got an audience. But I got high on mushrooms, and I remember, so the thing about life is insane, and we tune it all out. Going through the airport, taking your shoes off, taking your belt off, seeing them like getting women out of wheelchairs and like pushing them through or patting down 9-year-olds.
The freeway's insane.
Everything's insane. But what I mean is we have insane rituals that we do.
We're sort of numb to.
And we've like tuned it all out.
Yeah.
But when you get high on mushrooms, you're a newborn, and you turn on the TV, and I saw a commercial for Lee press-on nails, and the chick was putting the red stick-on nails onto her fingers, and I was like, the women in our species put weird simulated bloody claws at the end of their fingers, and that's attractive to the male of the species.
Love it.
And you see the world, and then I saw the next commercial that came on was a monster truck rally.
Oh, no.
And it was monster trucks, like Bigfoot's in town. And Bigfoot is just mashing smaller cars. And everyone in the audience is like, yeah, kill that car. Fuck that Chevette. Get him, Bigfoot. And then I thought, the fuck kind of society have we crafted where the women stick claws and then we pay money to watch a big truck smash smaller cars?
It's Fury Road.
Yes, that's right.
Well, a burglar broke into a North Carolina residence last week and stole a 12-inch vibrator, according to a police report.
Foot long. Now,
$5.
It's cheaper that way.
Is it twice as much as the...
Yes, it is. The burglary suspect, who remains at large, so we still got to catch him, entered the home and departed with the 12-inch electric vibrator wand, a couple of pieces of jewelry, and it was all combined about $450.
Well, first off, I thought when you stole vibrators, it was like ripping off a drug dealer. Like they didn't call the cops.
Yeah, it's
you know what I
pretty
mean?
shaming.
Like, did she ring up 911? Like, we got an emergency here.
They have ways of dealing with it.
I don't need to profile, but she's a 38-year-old woman in a 1,600-square-foot apartment, so she probably did call the cops.
All right, so she reported the jewelry and the
vibrator stolen.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And if apprehended, the vibrator thief could face larceny and breaking and entering charges.
To be fair to the thief, maybe he wasn't stealing the vibrator. Maybe he was using it as a device to transport the bracelets and the watches and the jewelry, just loading it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's spoken like somebody who's stolen a vibrator before.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't go bigger than C-cell. That's my deal.
Like the bear that sticks the stick down the anthole.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, like an aardvark or bears. Right. What was that? Monkeys do it, right? They do
something with opposable thumbs.
Yeah. They do that. They get termites out of it.
Termites. Yep.
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Well, you're going to hate this. Police.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But so he took the vibrator.
Yeah.
He took the jewelry.
Yeah.
But he left all the cats. You know there were cats. And 3 of those cats were like, take me with you, bro. It's like, nah, it's all, I know they say cat burglar, but they don't mean it literally. It's mostly vibrators and jewelry for me. There's no resale per se for a cat, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Mm-hmm. So the police in Lafarge, Wisconsin are trying to curb destructive homecoming activities from the homecoming festivities for the kids by telling kids they need to get written permission, before TPing someone's house.
I had this happen.
That's what made me think of you with Natalia.
What a weird world. My fucking daughter called me like 3 weeks ago, and she's like, Dad, can we TP my friend's house? And I'm like, no. And she's like, oh, okay. And then I thought, there's a part of that I like.
Yeah.
But let's really do the math.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're going to get that call in 6 years when she's 17. Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about blowing my boyfriend. Is that
on the table?
Can I put his dick on? I mean, I don't like this trend of asking before you do all the shit I don't want you to do. I'd rather just get drunk and sit in my office with the door closed and you go out. I'll get the call from the cops or the angry dad.
Right.
That's the call I'll answer.
She'll ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yes. I mean, what the fuck?
Well, this is what the police posted online to a little word of advice for the town. They said, if children are going to toilet paper someone's property, they should first receive consent from the property owner and clean up the mess with their they're done.
Yeah. I know.
They added that trespassing and vandalizing without consent of the owner will be prosecuted.
I didn't know. All right, so there's this thing. There's this thing. All right, there's two things. First off, any of you juvenile delinquents out there that are thinking about TPing somebody's house, come out to L.A. Don't TP my house. We should TP the homeless. Because I feel like they could use it. Half those guys would be like mid-squat and going, oh, thanks, bro.
Mana from heaven.
3-ply.
Good looking out.
Champion.
That means you care.
So we should TP the homeless people in L.A., number one. Number two, I do live in one of those communities where they do that shit, like the kids play jokes, and they have this thing on Halloween called like booing or something.
What is that?
They do this thing where they come to your house, they run out, and they just go bang, bang, bang on the door, and then they jump back in the car, and they take off. And I had no idea how this ceremony worked. I know. So I'm just sitting in my house. I'm alone. It's like 9 o'clock at night. It's like bang, bang, bang on the door, and I go run to the door, and there's no peephole, and there's no windows, there's no anything. So I'm standing by the door going, who is it? And like no one's answering. And
Clacking your shotgun.
I'm going, who's there? And I go, nothing. I don't hear anything. And then I like run around to my daughter's room and I'm trying to look through the window, but there's like an inset, so you can't tell if I can't see around the corner. And I come back running around again. I'm like, who's there? And like nothing. They took off a fucking half hour ago. This is a game. And my daughter's like, we got to go boo the Johnson. I'm like, leave the fucking Johnsons alone. Like, I don't have to go bang on. By the way, what's clever, funny, or interesting about whacking on someone's door?
It's ding dong ditch. It's ding dong ditch.
I guess.
There's nothing new or clever about it.
I know. It's a Halloween thing, so we can look forward to that.
Well, speaking of Halloween, we talked about this maybe last year, and it's a big trend now in LA, so I'm wondering if it's a trend here. If you have a pumpkin on your doorstep that's painted like turquoise, that means that it's a nut-free home for your nut-free child.
Oh, wow. Really?
Big time.
That's how far we've fallen. No, they don't play that shit in Florida.
Yeah. Ooh. Speaking of the homeless squatting outside, maybe they should pop the lid off that turquoise jack-o'-lantern and fill it with a
It'll be nut-free.
super precious Tootsie Roll.
Put it to use.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like Halloween because Halloween is one of those holidays where you don't have to decorate the outside of your house. Christmas, it's a little more put some shit up.
Festive.
Halloween, it lets you know who kind of the winner families are.
Yeah.
Like I'm walking up and down my street, we're a month out, and I see some houses that are done up.
Wow.
And I'm like, that dude's married to a Cracker Jack. That chick is fucking... She's probably on that Soul Cycle now.
Oh, the Peloton.
She's a Peloton. You know, she's Pelotoning. She gets off, puts a scarecrow in front, back on the Peloton. Probably that chick got this omelet waiting when the husband walks out. She's been looking at the newspaper and said, I know you thought Prop 131 was a good idea, but have you read the small print? No, hot chick, because nobody has, especially 31-year-old hottie. Who are these fucking people? But yes, this is chick work, and they're busy doing up the front of that house. And I go, that family, they're winners.
It's not going to surprise you. You know who does that? Christy's parents.
Christy's
parents.
I know it.
They're the house that people come and take pictures of on Halloween. Like,
she's a winner. She's a legacy. She comes from a winning generation. She was fine till she met you.
Yeah, she's too good for
I know that. She's one of these people that probably bake things and put together
Halloween-shaped things.
Popcorn balls and stuff like that.
The homemade good stuff.
Yeah. Like my wife's like, hold on. Does Grubhub set up Halloween motifs? They don't? Well, what if we threw them like an extra 40? Could they put some fucking Indian corn out front or something? They're bringing Taco Bell over anyway. Why don't they just gussy up the front? Olga, see if Grubhub does Halloween motifs. Somebody carry me back to my bedroom. I want to binge watch Locked Up Abroad.
Olga asked Siri if Grubhub does.
Olga, saddle up. Where's my crop? Yes. I can't believe it. The first time I saw my fucking kids and my wife, I don't know if it's my wife, probably my kids. Somebody brought Taco Bell to my house. One bag. I was standing in my front door, and there's this 19-year-old chick just walking at me holding a Taco Bell bag. And I'm like, okay, you're going to have lunch in my house, sweetheart? Like, what are you doing with Taco Bell? She's just walking at me. She doesn't have like a clipboard. She's not trying to sign me up or anything. She's just walking to me, and I'm like, yes. And she's like, here's your small bag of tacos. And I'm like, why did you bring them to my house? Because there's a thing for lazy people where you can have a nap.
The thing for lazy people used to be the drive-through window. Now that is, you're having a red light day. You can get to your car and back.
Oh, you got to get in there. You got to find the key fob. You got to push a button.
You got to shift gears once, maybe twice.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it can't be done.
You put it in reverse and then drive. It's a whole to-do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of which, 1/3 of Americans say they've ended a relationship because they cannot live with a messy person. According to this one poll study, analysts found tidying up or lack of tidying up can be a major rift in relationships. Over 65% of people say they fought with their partner about cleaning. The main problem is dishes left in the sink.
Can I tell you this? I've had the fucking worst roommates. I've had a wife who's a little sloppy around the edges. We fix it with help. But when did everyone become a slob?
Right.
It drives me nuts. And the person I like, I've had these roommates where you ask them to clean up their shit and then you guys got to throw down in the kitchen. Like, if someone is asking you to clean up your shit, it's because you didn't clean up your shit the first time.
I told you the story long ago, the worst roommate I ever had. And we had that same situation where in the kitchen, I said, Jacob, please, can you just unload the dishwasher once? Just once. He goes, I'm not your employee, Brian.
I know.
You got me there.
I had a roommate, John. John's the guy who threw his boot through a plate glass window because the stereo was too loud. He was taking a nap and blah, blah, blah. I've had the worst roommates. I've had the worst roommates ever. But this guy, one day, I came home, there's a huge pile of, first off, couple things. You want to go old school, we had the cold water, the water bottle in the fridge.
Yeah.
With, no air conditioning, San Fernando Valley, just fill a bottle up, Clamato bottle up, put it in the fridge. That's your water bottle, like your cold water bottle. One day, we used to both drink off it, and I was just like taking a hit off it, and I put it back, and I noticed his tooth was floating in the bottom of it. He had a tooth like on a stem that he could pull out, and I was like, hey, John. He's like, hey, keep my tooth in there. Right, because if you put it on your fucking nightstand, the house would catch on fire. Like, what? I go into this drinking water with his tooth floating around.
That is vile.
I go to the sink one day. Every fucking dish is broken in the sink. Every dish. This is like pre-IKEA, when a plate was a plate. You know what I mean? And it was all busted. And I was thinking to myself, like, what the fuck happened? I was doing what we did with Mike's backpack earlier today. I was like, did he get up on the counter and was like changing a light bulb and put his foot on it and like they cracked?
Right.
Or then I started to think about it. I was like, no, maybe it was full of water and it was like buoyant and then like the water drained out and maybe the weight of the dishes cracked themselves. And I was like, hey, John, why are all the dishes broken in the sink? And he goes, I took a hammer to him. It is so awesome to be your roommate. This is a great two-way street we have here. This is a fantastic working relationship. What the fuck is wrong with people? You're a fucking roommate. Listen, first off, if you had your shit together, you wouldn't have a roommate. But you don't have your shit together, so you do have a roommate. Maybe you had a little bad divorce. Maybe there was a little, you were chasing the dragon. I don't know what happened. The business fell apart. You have a fucking roommate. Both of the people who live in the apartment or the house who has the roommate wishes they lived there alone. But they don't, for financial reasons. So they live with you, and you live with them. And then what you do is you act like a fucking human being, and you split up the chores, and you don't leave your shit everywhere. And when you get a new girlfriend, she doesn't fucking move in too. Who are these fucking people who they have roommates, they split the rent, and then they just fucking act like the queen of goddamn Sheba?
You mean besides the Golden Girls?
Yes, besides
who
the
hail
Golden
from
Girls.
Miami.
Yeah, but the one super flamboyant. Oh, that's Designing Women. The one with the flamboyant gay guy.
Delta
sugar
Burke.
oh, yeah, for Hollywood.
Right,
from Mannequin.
right. I'm sorry.
No,
What
you're
else
talking
you
about the
got
sugar
there?
bakers. So, a Memphis man was arrested after police say he lied about being carjacked. Why would he lie about being carjacked? Oh, so he didn't have to tell his wife he was having an affair. On Monday, officers were called to a house when they met Anthony Thomas. The man claimed that two men carjacked him while he was sitting inside his vehicle. Now, after running the license plate information, police discovered that the vehicle had actually been towed a few hours before. Thomas claimed he was carjacked. But officers confronted him with the information, and that's when Thomas confessed to making the entire thing up. He reportedly told authorities that he lied so his wife wouldn't learn about his infidelity. He was charged with filing a false police report.
What happened to cool cops? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what
It's
happened
their
to
fault.
that fucking cop? You know, the cool cop where he pulls you over and you've had a couple of pops and he's like, I get it, I've been there before. Just tuck in behind me and we'll slide up. How far do you? Oh, I'm looking at your driver's license. You only live 8 blocks from here. Just slide in behind
Do you
me.
need an escort?
Yeah, or you're like, yeah, you know, the fucking old ladies put on a few pounds. I'm banging a chick I work with. We're cool, right? Do we have to fucking fill out a report on everything?
Yeah. Well, the good old days, like, oh, Mr. Carson, you've had too many drinks. Why don't you follow us?
Right this way, Mr. Sinatra.
Yeah, I'll put the rollers on. We'll go all the way to Malibu. Tuck in behind me. Get a bump draft. Yeah, and if there's a couple of floozies in the back, there's no report.
Thank you.
There's a fucking report on everything. Let me tell you, I'll tell you what's the end of cops. The goddamn, the cop cam, the chest
the body cam.
Between the body cam and letting chicks be cops, it's fucking over. There's no...
We did it to ourselves.
No, I swear to God, when I was doing the Man Show, we were doing rehearsal, and we're like sitting out on the stage, and like one of the juggy dance squad chicks, they're all hot, but anyway, the hot, Vanessa, she was like super hot, you know, and she's like, oh, sorry I'm late, I got a ticket. And I said, you got a ticket? And she's like, yeah, I got a speeding ticket on the 101 on the Ventura Freeway. I'm like, who? What, dude? Come on. No one's giving you a ticket. And she goes, it was a chick cop. And I was like, this is why we can't have it, people. If they're not handing out tickets to hot chicks or walking in the wrong apartment and shooting black dudes. I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Read the news, people.
It's one or the other. They got 2 modes. Handing out chicken shit tickets to juggy dance squatters and shooting innocent black dudes in their own apartment. That's all they do. And this podcaster's seen enough.
Someone had to say something.
You make a valid point.
Sorry to get serious on you, Gina, but you know I'm right.
No, I
You know I'm right.
can't argue with that.
It's
Just
A
happened.
or B. There's no C. It's either chicken shit tickets to hot chicks.
Oh, she can be a C. Don't get me wrong.
Gina.
That's good. All right, Gina, let's do one more.
All right. Well, I've been saving this one for a day or two. A driver in the UK was stopped by police for speeding. But he had a honey of an excuse, and I think you're going to like it. He blamed it on his farting passenger.
Oh.
He claimed he was trying to reach his destination as fast as he could to escape the smell. Cops weren't buying it. It was one of a string of bizarre excuses that's been going around in Great Britain. The officers laughed at the excuse. It didn't get him out of the ticket. They said
I
you should
had
put
to
the
ride.
AC on.
I had horrible gas. Was in a guy named Carl DeLutre's VW Bug. I farted him up so bad. He said one more time, "You're out of the car." I, of course, let that last one
challenge
go.
accepted.
I rode for several miles outside of his car. If you stand on the bumper of a VW Bug, a Bug from like the 60s, you can stand on the rear bumper, lean forward, and hang on to the weird like water trough edge on the side of the thing, and you just grab on it. I just drove home outside of the car.
It's reasonable.
Wow.
It's reasonable.
It's very Back to the Future.
It can be done.
What
You know
about cash and prizes, cash bolt, cash lightning?
Me and Jimmy.
T-Chance Thrasher.
Thank you.
T-Chance Thrasher. Me and Jimmy, here's the best and the worst fart story ever. Me and Jimmy were going to drive to Vegas to celebrate Big Tad's 21st birthday. This must have been in 1995 and a half. Jimmy had told me he was eating raw clams and beans so that he could front load for a farting excursion, and then he was going to destroy us all in this rented van we got. But what he didn't know is that Big Tad had an older brother who was a male stripper who was the gas king of New Orleans. I mean, this guy had a problem. A big-time problem. And we got about 100 feet from my apartment, and Jimmy announced confidently, "Oh, it's on." And he leaned over and let like a 4.5 toot out of his ass. And T-Chance Thrasher, that was the name of the fart king from New Orleans, he looked back at Jimmy and he's like, "Oh, it's on? Oh, it's on." And he leaned over and he blew us up all the way to Vegas. And the worst thing ever happened, I don't know if you guys, this is not a chick thing, but thankfully I dug out a pack of matches. And every time he'd fart, I'd hit the match. But one time, I got the match out. I'm like, "Jimmy, I'm going to light the match." And I started to strike the match, and Jimmy let the window down right as I struck the match, and it blew the match out immediately and weaponized the fart in the hot
Ninja.
the hot desert air. Yeah. You guys, women don't fart on people, right?
Not as a weapon.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not like a game.
Oh,
is it?
no. We
Childbirth.
We do it. I mean, the best fart story ever was the Trader Joe's coffee tin fart with me and Jimmy. I mean, you can't do better. You can only tie this story. We're in my kitchen. We had some poker night or something back in the day. Everyone cleared out. And Jimmy, because he's a super dutiful guy, that's going to come in a second. He was cleaning. He was at the dish. He was doing all the dishes and cleaning everything up.
Good guy.
And I was standing next to him, and I felt this big fart come on because we were eating ribs and 7-layer dip and everything. And I quickly grabbed that Trader Joe's cylinder of whole bean coffee with the toucan on it or whatever, the parrot, like it had like 3 beans in the bottom of it. And I popped the lid off and I put it against my ass. I even gave it a half turn, like to get a vapor lock going. And I just filled it up with all ass, and I popped the cap back on it. And Jimmy's, he had his back to me. He was like doing the dishes. He had the thing running. And
So being a good friend.
Apron and gloves.
And I said, "Jimmy, ever smell whole roasted Sumatran, like whole bean, like really? Do you really smell that?" And he's like, "No, I've not had the whole bean stuff." And he popped the lid off, and he buried his face in it because when people go like, "Hey man, smell my fingers," people are like, or they go like, "Hey, is this milk bad?" You know, they're like, But when you hand him a tin of coffee and there's like 3 beans at the bottom of it, and he was like literally trying to lift them with his nose. He planted this thing against his head and he just went. Then he just paused and like leaned back. He just leaned back and went, "What happened?" And then he knew, like he saw my face, like he saw sheer ecstasy. When my twins were born, it was fine, but this moment, my face was like, I'd never been happier with myself my entire life. Is you can do all the wafting you want and do the whatever.
Yeah,
Guys will
it'll
just
dilute.
they'll go shields, you know, they'll just go up like that or whatever. But you can't get them to say. That's literally like telling a guy, "Put your nose in my asshole and breathe. Suck it up." That was awesome. All right, Gina, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina. That was the news with Gina Grad.